If I were in your shoes, I'd want to know what's in the closing disclosure. And this process has gotten a little bit more complicated over the years as there's been more and more legislation and regulation into the mortgage industry. But a closing disclosure will come to you usually via electronic disclosure, but right about the time that your loan is approved. And that closing disclosure is going to have all of the information that you would need to know about your loan. It's going to have your interest rate, your closing costs, your APR. It'll even have the total amount of interest you're going to pay over the first 5 years and over the life of the loan. It'll also tell you if there's any prepayment penalties, if your escrows are included, as well as the settlement services. So in a purchase transaction, you're going to have credits potentially from the seller. You're going to have earnest money. You're going to have prorations of different municipality fees. All of those things will be in the closing disclosure. Now, one thing that you should know is that oftentimes that initial closing disclosure will get to you well in advance of your closing, and those numbers, the fine-tuning of those prorations will still be being accomplished between the lender and the title company. So it's important for you to know that you must consent to receipt of that closing disclosures at least 3 days before you actually arrive at closing, but those numbers can be adjusted and will be adjusted. So my advice is consent to the receipt of the closing disclosure if the majority of the information is accurate, and then if there's any variances that you want to discuss, of course, bring that up with your loan officer. Thanks so much for tuning in. We hope you find this information useful.